Describe the path that sperms follow from the testicle to the urethra. In order to get out to their places, sperma go through to the seminiferous tubule of the testicle, to the epidermis. Then they pass through to the vas deferens until the research of urethra of the penis, where they will be expelled, so that they do not have any problem. When leaving, the sperm are covered seminal fluids.
Describe the function of each organ. Number 1. Bladder. The bladder is an organ like a muscle which is part of the urinary system. The bladder begins hollow, stored urine to be later expelled through the urethra. Number 2. Pubic bones. This organ is multifunctional, but its main function is to protect the entry of pathogens into the human body, forming a barrier that do not enter through the genitals. This organ that produces the greatest amount of hair remains us to have a different functions. Number 3. Prostate gland. The prostate creates a fluid that helps semen and helps to pass urine. Number 4. Urethra. It has two functions. One is to evacuate the semen and the other is to evacuate the urine that is transported from the bladder. Number 5. Epidermis. Made up of a conductive tube which connects to the testicles, which have a different to help transport to the semen with the sperms. This organ helps us to measure them to the expelled with the semen. Number 6. Testes. It is produced the sperm releasing sex hormone into the blood. Number 7. Rectum. Rectum is the main conduction of feces, which carry it until it discharges through the anus. Number 8. Seminal vesicles. Nourish sperms as it has a lot of fructose and make them well nourished. Number 9. Bulbourethral gland. There are two exocrine glands. Is to exert the pre-ejaculation liquids. One of each function is to release before sexual intercourse and prepare the sperm. Number 10. Vas deferens. Transport the sperm to the bladder to later join with the bladder band to the gallbladder contains through to the ejaculatory ducts. Describe the hormonal regulation of the male reproductive system. One of the hormones that the reproductive system forms is testosterone. This hormone creates that adolescent children begin to mature, change their voice, hair appear on their body and face, develop muscles, create sperms, and other things. Number 2. Sperms. This hormone is in the testicle creates sperms. It is normal for any young man to want to experiment with this, but it's very important to know its function, which creates more hormones that are related into the blood to produce pleasure.
And now I'm gonna explain you the organs of the female reproductive system. Uterine tube. This organ in the shape of a circle connects with the vagina and uterus. Its function is to connect menstrual blood and sperm, but it's also when the pregnant it's help to support the baby in the body. Ovary are found on each side of the uterus and are connected by the tubes, have a small almond-like shape, and are responsible for producing hormones and eggs. Uterus. The uterus is a hollow organ that is in the pelvic between the bladder and rectum. Its function is to produce pregnancy. Vesicular pouch. The vesicular ducts have seen this name since it is in the form of a small bag and it's stored in the veil. Vagina. This organ is the main one of the creation of the baby, since the penis, lips, and sperm through these ducts thanks to the sperm's travel through the uterus until they fertilized to the ovum. Clitoris. This organ exists to give us pleasure in the sex act. Labium minus. Two folds that are below the labial major, they contains of a mucous membrane and are always kept mostly. Labium magnus. They are responsible for protecting the internal organs because it is large and voluminous. These lips have sweet and sebaceous glands to keep it lubricated. Rectorine pouch. It is in charge of covering the rectum and uterus. Its function is to protect and support the organs. It is made by the thick tissue. Fornix. It surrounds the vagina portion of the cervix, and it is located in the deepest part of the vaginal wall. Cervix. A structure in the forms of fold that its main function is to separate the uterus and the vagina. Include a description of the ovarian cycle. The ovarian cycle is divided into three phases. The first one phase is the follicular phase. When the menstruation begins, your body sends signals to your brain to create follicle-stimulating hormones, one of the main hormones from the maturation of the ovum. The ovum matures inside the follicle and its size increases into the same way. The uterus increases and its thickness. High level of estrogens is necessary to receive sperms. The ovulation is the second phase. The increase of hormones creates that the ovum matures completely and its relating to the cycle happens every 14 days, but it depends of the cycle of the woman. The luteal phase is the last phase of the ovarian cycle. After the ovum is released, it goes to the tubes. While the ovum tries to survive, the sperm tries to enter. Usually the days of the ovulation, the creation of the female is most likely. After going through a long journey, the uterus prepares to receive the fertilized eggs. Women feel like that when we have a sensitive breast, depression, swelling, it's not like a premenstrual syndrome. If the egg is not fertilized, the follicle attracts the hormones and produce the menstruation. Explain the ovarian cycle. Ovary cycle and uterine cycle. Hormones help to regulate the uterine cycle since they promote ovulation and stimulates the ovaries to produce estrogens and progestogens, and they all helps to stimulate the uterus to the possible fertilization. Hormones involved. The hormones involved is the hypothalamus, hypophysis, and ovaries.